Okay, so we've got, I think, about 130 people that have joined us now so far. We've got a beautiful room here in Newport Beach. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank everybody for joining me for this mega event, is what I'm going to call it, because this vision mapping journey that I have taken over the last 6 years started as a small little intimate group with girlfriends and then with my real estate team. And here we are today. I think we have over 300 RSVPs and we've got people joining us every second right now. So thank you guys, everybody, for being a part of this and letting me share a part of what's helped me transition in my life and help my family learn and grow since I started doing it. So not that I never set goals or did anything, but my life has taken some pretty big changes, and hence Work Hard, Smile Large being born into the world. It was part of our family. And so I want to take a little bit of time and talk about Work Hard, Smile Large. It's deep, it's meaningful, but it's super fun. I am taking the opportunity in our new home in Texas, which is not so new anymore, for our friends and family to get to know who my family was. We work really hard. We have a lot of fun, and we tried to break some social barriers with our children through it. So my daughters helped me launch Work Hard, Smile Large. They helped me create the logo. They helped me build my community of friendships, and they helped me build their own friendships. And so we together got to know other people and let people into our lives, and really helped my daughters evolve in their school community, in their social life, and in their sports and recreation and things like that. So this year in 2023, I want to host even more events for us as professionals, male, female, co-ed, and for our children to get together and not just do fun things, but give back to the community, help one another, invite their friends in that they might not always be including. And so it's a community driven by hard work and positivity and just really including everybody. And so by the end of this year, I hope our community is able to grow and blossom so that more ages, more demographics, more men and boys get involved. In next Sunday on February 5th, we have our first ever youth vision mapping. I'm going to take it another step farther in 2023. My children participate with me on my vision map, but now they're going to create their own this year. And I invite all of you to bring the children that you know in your life and people that you know that are youth that could benefit from this to join our youth vision mapping event on Sunday. So we'll have some male little boys that are going to come on and speak about a couple topics. And that's really special to me that they're going to take the time to share their vision and what they're doing this year, what they've been doing the past few years to become who they are. Being a positive light in this world isn't always easy, right? Like we all have challenges. And I think getting really uncomfortable with yourself and getting uncomfortable with your challenges is okay, because we need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. I changed my entire life. My children changed their entire friend base. I started a real estate brokerage in 2014 as a female owner broker. We've done really uncomfortable things, but getting uncomfortable was great because it made me comfortable with who I was. So I want everybody today, when you work on your vision map, and we have these beautiful speakers coming on to help guide us and share their experiences with us, I want you guys all to set your vision for this year with purpose for you and really know who you are and work and hone in on who you are and those actions and those steps that you're going to take this year for yourself, because being the best you and serving yourself with the best purpose is going to give you the ability to help so many more. And that's what Work Hard, Smile Large is all about. Really bringing it all together and helping those around you, because we haven't gone anywhere in our professional career or our personal lives alone. So collaborate, spread the word of Work Hard, Smile Large. So my kids every day, if you haven't read our bio or anything, every day when my children leave my site, I say work hard. And then they respond saying smile large. And if we're even busier and things are chaotic that morning and I don't say it first, they tell me. And now their friends say it to them. And so now they're saying it with their friends. And so let's just spread it. Like, it makes everybody smile. I'm so proud of you when you're doing your hard work. And it doesn't always have the best outcome, but you can always smile because you know you're trying. And so let's give it our all this year and live our life with such a great purpose and help one another. Okay. I have some amazing speakers that join me. They're real people. They're human. They have beautiful lives. They've gotten to where they are through their own path and their journey, and they're going to take the time to share it with us today. They have really big hearts. And I asked a lot more people to come on and be panelists because we had a lot more topics to talk about. But the women who are here today have the hugest hearts, and they have really beautiful journeys and stories to share with us. So part of vision mapping, I don't want to teach what vision mapping is. I know we kind of all see the topics and we know it's about setting goals, but I want you to hone in on these actions and these changes that they made in their life that made all their goals feasible because they took steps to get there together. And we revisit our goals often, and our goals take us on a journey, but we need to think about how they touch our hearts and what little action items we can do throughout the year to achieve those goals for ourselves and have that great accomplishment. But our first speaker, I would love to introduce her, but these women are amazing. I hope you guys learn as much from them as I do on the daily, being a part of their lives and getting to know them a little bit more every day and what they're doing in this world and with their families and friends. But our first speaker is going to be Brittany Ann Williams. I was introduced to her this year, and I had the opportunity to do a breathwork class with her. And it was pretty magical. I have never experienced that before. And everybody that knows me and most people now are always go, go, go and busy, busy. And she slowed me down and got my mind centered, and it was really helpful. And so I thought it'd be a great opportunity to hear her story, why she is where she's at and why she's doing breath work with people and helping them, and helping us today get ready and get our mindset for our speakers and our workshops. So thank you all for joining me. And Brittany, thank you so much for coming and kicking us off today.
Absolutely, Nicole. Beautiful intro. Thank you for everything you're doing. You speak so authentically from your heart, and it just makes everyone, I'm sure, in this space feel warm. So thank you for what you're doing. Let me get into introducing myself. I'm going to start by sharing my screen. Can everybody see that okay? Thumbs up? Yeah, cool. Beautiful. So as Nicole mentioned, my name's Brittany. And a little bit about me and my story is I was a realtor in Austin for 7 years, coupled with 3 years of pharmaceutical sales. So it's safe to say I was on the crazy train a little bit, spreading myself pretty thin, and personally was using work as a coping mechanism that really drove a wedge further between my mind and my body. I reached a breaking point, and I was at the height of an eating disorder. I was overworked, overwhelmed, and completely disconnected. And that is when I found somatic work, or a duality of mind and body work, you could think of it as. It changed my life, and it led me to where I am today, which is a trauma-informed coach, a breathwork facilitator, somatic healer, and a bunch of other long titles that I won't bog you down with. But beyond the many titles I have, my passion and focus is to talk about our brain and body connection. And we, of course, will get into why this concept alone will change your entire reality and the importance of this in your life. But this is really going to be the foundation of today's purpose as well for vision mapping, because we're going to get you into the intuition, right? Into that gut instinct, into that knowing, and into your heart, creating visions from there rather than the analytical mind that can sometimes overpower and override our sense of truth and desire and what we think versus what we feel and know in our hearts. Yeah, are we good with that? I can't see all the faces. Gonna take some head nods. Yeah. How many of us have made decisions based on what we think makes sense in our mind or is a good idea at the time, while overriding our body's cues that it wasn't for us and paid for it later, maybe once or twice? Yeah. So we'll see if we can avoid that today. All right, moving on. So let's just take a moment to talk about this connection briefly. I'm curious how many of us feel that we have a good connection to our bodies and the intelligence and signals they give. Somewhat, yeah. Like if I were to, a quick practice is if I were to ask you to bring your awareness into your heart, you got still for just a moment. Could you feel it beat? Yeah. Bringing your awareness and your consciousness down into your legs. You could feel both the right and left leg, yeah, and the feet. What if I were to ask you, what 3 emotions were you leading with today? What felt most alive and where did they stem from? That might be a little trickier of a question. Yeah, that might be a little harder to answer. So let's talk about shortening this bridge then, this bridge between the mind and the body. And what is the bridge? It's obviously the breath, right? Between life and death is our breath. It is the subconscious and automatic component that keeps us alive, and yet we completely fall unaware of it day to day. Breathing is the bridge between the mind and the body, right? We can think of it as the connection between the conscious and the unconscious. And it really is the key to health and wellness, a function we can learn to regulate and develop in order to improve our physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. So how do we become more intentional then with the breath, right? Well, let's look at this image for a minute. You can just look at this image. You see that the majority of our thoughts, values, beliefs, emotions, and actions will come from our subconscious mind, 95% to be specific. And this is developed between the ages of 0 and 8 years old, right? That's when we're really adaptable and we're taking in all of this information. We're storing it as memory. We're storing it as truth in our bodies. So what does that mean? Well, it means that only 5% of our awareness then comes from the conscious, evolved, wise, embodied part of us today. Yeah, I mean, this isn't our fault, right? We live in a time and space where we're really disconnected from our bodies. Their source of intelligence, our bodies are so wise. They were made to give us all the information we need, and yet we externalize and outsource a lot of our needs, right? And rely on other people. So for us, primarily, we live in this analytical or structured brain, which we call the conscious mind. You can think of it as kind of a narrow focus, right? You're in this like 3D reality and everything feels like a really big deal. Things that are neutral, we add our charge to, right? And then the function of your subconscious mind then is to store and retrieve data. Its job is to ensure that you respond exactly the way that you are programmed to respond. And your subconscious mind makes everything you do, everything you say fit a pattern that is consistent with your self-concept or your master programming, right? And this is for better or for worse. I mean, if you believe that your visions are going to take hard work and hustle and sacrifice to reach the goals that we cast today, then your subconscious will make sure to deliver that experience for you. Yeah. And likewise, if we've always been told by our parents or by society that there's a specific cadence we have to follow or a threshold to success, then we'll spend our lives running after that, searching outside of ourselves for this fulfillment and validation. Yeah, the stories that we tell ourselves that stem from this autopilot state that we are kept in the same loops and experiences really prevent us from stepping into our greatness. So you're like, well, now I'm stressed out. What do I do? We're going to get there. We're going to get there. So how do we become aware of our subconscious so we can create new and helpful beliefs and stories to support us in our desires with more ease and less force? I love using this example. I don't know where I got this from, but I always picture like our conscious mind being this beautiful, veiny stallion. She's white and she's running on a beach, but she's chained to 95 donkeys going the other way, right? Like our conscious awareness can visualize and create, and it wants all of these amazing things for us. Meanwhile, the subconscious body just does what it knows. If you're like, I want to be a millionaire, and your body's like, you haven't hit 6 figures, right? Then we aren't at the vibrational match yet. We haven't showed our body that it's safe, that it's true, that it's available to us because it's stuck within its constraints. Yeah, everybody following me so far? We're going to move out of the science now, but yeah. So how do we do this then? Well, in order for us to move into a higher state of consciousness, we must begin to actually shift our state of being, right? In order to change our personality, we must change our personal reality. So how do we shift these states? We're going to focus on these 3 in the middle: beta, alpha, and theta. Beta is the concentration and learning state. You can think of this as that analytical mind that we were talking about, right? Life is really 3D. We get up, we roll off the same side of the bed every morning, take the same 5 steps to the bathroom where we do the same 5 things. And we kind of get in this autopilot, really narrow focused window, right? When we're at work and we're just here. Alpha creates more of a space. So we're able to actually step back, we're relaxed, we're in a reflection space like the majority of you are likely in right now. Think about when you get out of yoga and you're very zen and you're here and present and there's space, right? You can observe and you're not engulfed by the to-do list of your day or whatever is most alive. And then there's theta. Theta is almost a hypnotic state. It's dreaming. It's a flow state. It's a really hyper relaxed state. And at this state, we can actually access the subconscious mind. We can actually talk with it. We can reveal what's alive, the truths, the stories that we believe that are embodied in us, and we can begin to then shift. So how do we get here? Breath work, obviously. All right, breath work. Breath work gets us into that theta state. It literally shifts the chemical components in our body to be able to get our bodies into a state where we can access the full truth, where we can see the full picture, where we can create space. Yeah? So let's talk quickly about the breath work in the body. Because when you think about breath work, you probably think of the physical aspects of breathing, right? The inhaling of air, the exhaling of air. Breathing is a vital part of life, and it helps deliver oxygen into your bloodstreams, and it can remove carbon dioxide. And it's completing a full breath cycle involves your whole body, your chest, your belly, your back, your mind. And it takes actual effort to coordinate all of these elements of a breath, even though the simple process seems effortless. Yeah. And the physical benefits of deep breathing are often immediate. We're going to see that here in a minute. But by breathing deeply, you can activate your parasympathetic nervous system, or that automatic system that runs on our behalf. We can begin to slow down our heart rate, lower our blood pressure, and create a sense of calm. Now, when our bodies are operating in this fight or flight stress response, we release a surge of hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline that cause your breathing to speed up and become shallow. It increases your pulse and your blood pressure, and it allows you into this state of hypervigilance. But deep breathing can literally bring you back into homeostasis. It regulates that vagus nerve, which is the nerve that goes from the bottom of your brainstem all the way to your spine and touches on every organ. Oh, you guys, I just looked at the screen and you're not seeing any of my slides, are you? No, I'm so sorry. You haven't been seeing anything? So you're like, what donkey, what horse? Oh, no. Can you see it now? Is it switching now?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm just on my screen looking at these cute faces. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So we won't go back through it, but this is what I created for you, the bridge between mind and body. This is that kind of visualization of how much of the subconscious mind takes up our body and how much of the conscious mind we're operating from. Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. And then this is the cool video of the donkeys that you totally missed that on. I'll send the slides so Nicole can send it out. Sorry about that.
Perfect. Thank you.
And these are the 3 states, right? So back in that beta, that's where we spend the majority of our day in that work, hustle, analytical learning, concentration mode, taking it into alpha where we're more relaxed, all the way into theta. That's so weird. And then I was like, yeah, this is my mic drop moment where I was like, breath work, breath work in the body, breath work in the mind. And now let's practice. Are we ready?
Yes.
So we are going to do the pulse breath. This is completely safe, by the way. Every time I lead breathwork, I really have to preface that. They're like, my mom told me that I was going to hyperventilate. I'm like, I get it. My mom did too. I was very confused, but this is completely safe practice. We're literally increasing the ratio of oxygen to carbon dioxide. So we're going to be able to feel our bodies drop our state, become regulated, and you're going to have a much more productive time creating visions. Right? Not from overwhelm and the feeling of I have to get this done, but from the heart and the intuition. So the pulse breath will look like this. It'll be in for 4 and out for 4. I'll show you a few. Oh, sorry, I had to take a deep breath first. So it'll just look like that. Yeah. And you're going to go at your perfect pacing. We're going to work as we do this breath to release the mind on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just let the breath do the work. Okay. Yeah. So we'll do that for 4 minutes. I'll lead you through some visualization, and then we will be complete. See how we feel. Okay. Beautiful. I was going to share my audio super quick. Just take 1 moment. And I'm watching the time, Nicole. All right, loves. So wherever you are, just taking a moment, just landing here with me in the humanness. And in this breath work, I want you to bring up the intention of activating your vision. and experiencing your deepest desires. And everything in life is created twice, right? Once in our mind and in our energy, and then it is actualized in the real world through the body. When we drop in with clarity, what we want to see, how we want to feel, where we want to go, what we want to create, we can anchor it into our bodies and into the future. And starting by releasing the how. So dropping your shoulders and closing your eyes if it feels good. Maybe taking a few deep clearing breaths to start, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Clearing that air and allowing the energy to land here in the body. Beginning to notice what is alive in the body. And slowly relaxing and landing here now. And just a quick scan, starting at the top of your head and the forehead, moving down. Releasing the tongue from the roof of the mouth if it's there. And just softening the cheeks, the chest, the shoulders. With every breath, releasing, softening, and relaxing a bit more. I'm bringing up now a vision of a desire that you have. Something that is yours for the taking. And let it be bold, don't play small here. Bring it into the mind with potency. Becoming so clear of this dream and casting that vision. Placing your awareness on the very thing you desire most. And beginning to notice how it feels for that thing to be a reality. Connecting with that feeling and amplifying it in the body. And whenever you're ready, beginning that breath in for 4 and out for 4. Keeping that breath pattern going, releasing the mind and bringing up the activation of this feeling. In for 4, out for 4. In for 4, out for 4. That's it. Letting the breath do the work. Releasing the mind, the counting, and just falling into the breath pattern. Trusting the body to guide you. And bringing your subconscious into new spaces. Showing it a new way of feeling. Just a few more here. And when you find yourself on your next inhale, taking the breath and holding it up at the top. Dropping the shoulders, coming back into the body. Maybe placing both hands on your heart. Knowing that your desire is already done. Experiencing the sensations of it already being done. And when you're ready, landing here, back in the space. Maybe when you open your eyes, just noticing how you feel now, dropping it in the chat. How has your state changed? What do you feel now? Remembering that you are magic and you are the driver of your system. You can access this sense of calm and stillness at any point through the power of your most limitless resource. Yeah. on the back. Beautiful. Inspired. I love that, Kelly. Expansive. So good. Beautiful. All right, loves. Well, my time is up. I want to be respectful. Thank you so much for breathing with me, for dropping in, for listening. I'm sorry it was kind of a little short and about the slides. The last thing that I just wanted to share is that I created a self-discovery guide specifically for this, for this crew. So I basically took, I don't know if you can see the screen. I basically took a lot of my tools and resources, a lot of the things that helped me shift my state and be able to come into my body, discover who I was, and connect to my body. So I've really poured into this. It's for you. If you want it, all you do is just send me your first and last name so I have it, and then your email so I can email it over to you. This is my number, and I'll give it to Nicole if you miss it. But while it's up on the screen, just send that note, and I would love to give you a free resource. Nicole, thank you so much for having me. And thank you, everybody, for showing up for yourself today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Our health is so important, and sharing, your journey, which got you to helping people with their breath work. But, a lot of us know we're supposed to breathe when we work out. We know we're supposed to breathe when we're stressed out. Breathe when you're not freaking out. Like, just be conscious of your breath. It's like, I've been kind of practicing this for a while, but Brittany helped me get a little bit more deep with it. And I find myself just slowing down and taking a deep breath and using some different breathing patterns that I've learned from other people as well, and other things I've been at. So I hope you all can enjoy it too, because it's really helped me in times of need and times of just happiness, where I just stop to just relic in how amazing life is and, how beautiful the world is. So our next speaker who's going to share her story is a friend of mine, but she's a mom. She's had an awesome life, and I'm so excited for her to share about her career. She's an actress. She's now producing, and Haley Duff is going to be here telling us about her career path and what's gotten her here today, and where she's going in 2024, and kind of what her vision is. So Haley, thank you so much for coming on and speaking to our Work Hard, Smile Large community. Can't wait to hear more.
Hi, you guys. How are you? Brittany, that was so nice to be coming on here after you, because I did your breath work while you were talking, and I feel like I'm like nice and chill now to get to talk to all of you. So thank you for that. Nicole, thank you for having me. It was such a nice introduction, and I wish I could see all of you, but nice to meet all of you. I'm here at my home in Austin, and you can kind of see my messy kitchen back there. I'm sorry about that. I wanted to talk to you guys a little about what it is I know you guys are familiar with your vision mapping and your vision boarding, and what it is to manifest your family, your career, your happiness, your body image, things like that. And so I wanted to touch on what it is to identify things within your career that you want to change. And I feel like I can relate to this because I've experienced this over the course of my own career. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the moments that I went back through and identified within my own career for myself, and how I was able to reroute those moments and make positive changes within them. So one of the first things I want to talk to you guys about is being able to identify when you have frustration in your current career. I think that's one of the things that's really hard for us to stop and take a moment and really be able to admit. Sometimes we just are on that hamster wheel, and we're constantly, if we have kids at home and busy lives, we're just, or we're making good money and we don't necessarily want to stop. We're kind of like, okay, everything's fine. We're going. But sometimes we don't stop to take a moment and realize that maybe we don't really like what we're doing, or we're not feeling creatively fulfilled, or just in general happy with what we're doing with our career. So for me, this moment happened in my early 20s, and I was an actress from the time I was a little girl. I started out as a child actor, and I didn't go to normal school. I didn't go to college. And so for me, I didn't really have a backup plan. I didn't have anything other than acting that I knew as an option to go and do. And so all of a sudden I woke up and I was like 20 and I was like, well, if I didn't want, and I'd had an amazing career leading up to that point. I had so many things to be grateful for. I was a homeowner at 18 years old. Like I had so many amazing things to be grateful for and had such a blessed life. But I just wasn't feeling like that happy doing it anymore. And I was feeling frustrated with the kind of jobs I was getting and the kind of opportunity I was getting. And I woke up and I was like, oh gosh, like what would I do other than this? You know, this is kind of like the only thing I've ever known. And then I all of a sudden started looking back thinking like, well, did I ever really want to do this? Because this is, you know, something I started doing as a kid. How do you know what you want to do as an adult from the time you're a kid? And so I sat down and I remember sitting out by my pool and I was like, okay, so what do I not know how to do? And the truth is I didn't know how to cook. My mom had always cooked for me. I had a family. My mom and dad both were really good cooks. I didn't know how to cook. So I was like, okay, I'm going to teach myself how to cook. And I think of this one moment as such a turning point in my career because I started a blog and my blog was called Real Girls Kitchen. And at this time, blogs were like, you know, this was maybe 12 years ago or something. Blogs were sort of starting to happen, but they weren't kind of what they are, you know, now or even 5-6 years ago. And this little blog that was really just meant to be a hobby, you know, something for me to be creative and kind of like get my, you know, frustration out on, turned into a whole different avenue of my career. It turned into a cookbook. It turned into 2 different television shows for Cooking Channel. And it opened up a whole different avenue of my career that I never in a million years expected to have. So I encourage you to, if you feel frustration in what you're doing, to get your hands dirty, to sit there and think, you know, is there something that I feel that's just a hobby or something that makes me happy? Maybe it's gardening. You know, I have a girlfriend that I talked to the other day about starting a landscaping business. Like she is so good at gardening. She's very involved in our school garden and she would be so amazing at something like that. Like, is there something that makes you feel genuine happiness and fulfillment? And it's just a hobby. Like that is something to funnel your energy into. And I think that is a way to find a path that you don't always expect to be your end outcome, but sometimes it's the route that gets you to where you're meant to be. So that's my first advice, is to identify your frustration or your lack of excitement in your current career, and then to get yourself messy, get yourself dirty, and to follow a hobby. My second thing I want to talk to you guys about is to take risks. And Nicole, I think you feel this a little bit because I know you and I have talked about this a lot together, is if there's a major change that you want to make in your life. For us, it was moving to Austin. Nicole, I know that was a big change for you as well. I've experienced this as well over the course of my career also, but moving to Austin during the pandemic was a big change for us. I did this again earlier when I was, early 20s, I guess. And I auditioned for a Broadway show, and I had been on a TV series that got canceled, and I didn't have a job, and I got an audition that would take me to New York. And I'd never lived in New York. I would have to move there by myself. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a scary thought. But I thought, okay, I guess I'm going to try something that scares me, and I'm going to see if I get the job. And I encourage you to take risks, because that is where you find real growth. You will look at yourself after you go through that really hard time, and you will see almost an entirely different person. 6 months from that point, a year from that point, you will look back at who you were then, and you'll think, oh my God, I can't believe I'm looking at the same person. And you'll look at your friends at that moment, and they'll almost feel, not in a bad way, but they'll almost feel like they haven't changed at all. and you will feel like leaps and bounds from the person that you were. And there's such beauty in that growth. There's such emotional change and development in that risk. There's spiritual change in that risk. So I encourage you to say yes to the job interview that scares you. Take the risk. Don't say no because it seems like a scary option. This also happened to me this past year with saying yes to directing a movie. I had zero credential whatsoever for directing a movie. I had obviously acted in many movies, but I had no idea what I was doing in directing one. And it ended up being a really positive, wonderful thing for me too. So, I say yes to the scary job, take the risk. I promise you will benefit from it in such amazing ways. I think Nicole can also agree with that for the positive impact with her family in moving to Austin with amazing new friends, amazing career opportunities. I feel like the universe rains down positive, amazing gifts upon you when you take those risks.
The good, the bad.
Sorry, I have a bunch of notes in front of me. What?
I said the good, the bad, and the scary. It's scary. Like, it's scary not knowing what the answer is when you make that decision and what's around the corner and who's going to be there. And the beautiful part about it is we have the opportunity to meet people through those scary times and those big decisions. We meet new people. I have a whole new, beautiful group of friends, not just in Austin, like in the nation. Like, I've had the opportunity to go to places I would have never gone to had I not moved to Austin and met the beautiful people that I've met. And speak with other professionals and do things. And so I think looking at that fear of change as like just not being afraid to meet new people and learn from more people, because we're all going to learn from each other here. Like that's what we're here on this earth to do, is like learn from one another. So learn and grow together, right? And not hurt each other. So we can only.
The other thing I think that it really does is I think, or I'm going to shift a little bit into family because our family also is tied to every aspect of who we are. And I don't know if I'm assuming that most of the people that are joining us are parents. Is that the right assumption? I don't know.
It is mostly adults. Yeah. But like all professions, like different professions and genders, every co-ed, everything. Yes.
So one of the things that I also really feel in the taking risks and doing the things that scare you is as our children get older, they really look to us, they're the sets of eyes that are always watching us at all times. And I really feel that as they get older, especially, they are going to do what they see us do, not what we say. And when they see us putting ourselves out there, taking the risks for our families, for us, moving to Texas was a big decision that we made really for our kids, making sure that they could be in schools, that they could live kind of like a more normal life. Those kind of decisions were based around the wellness of our family. I think those types of decisions strengthen your family unit as well. And so not only do these positive choices apply to your career, but they really apply to strengthening your family as well. And so something like moving to Texas and taking this kind of risk, it also really strengthens your family unit as well. Because like Nicole, for example, you guys moving here, not knowing anyone. I grew up in Houston, so I knew people in Houston, but I didn't know anyone in Austin. So for us, like it really strengthened our family when we got here because we leaned on each other. We spent a lot of time together when we first moved here. So, there's positivity not only for your career, but also for your family as well. And setting that example for your kids that it's okay to do something that scares you, but also that it's okay to possibly fail. I think letting your kids see that like little failures are okay and that you can work through them and that there's ways around and ways through them and out of them, take some of that pressure off of them too. and shows them that you can get through anything, that there's ways to work through and that a family gets through stuff together. So I think that's also just a wonderful example to set for our kids, to let them see how we navigate through things will be how they can navigate through things as well. And then one of another things I wanted to talk about, I don't know how much time I have.
I know, I think we're kind of shut on time, but I want to take that and just say that you did an awesome job segueing into our next speaker.
Okay, great.
Because talking about family and shaping the next generation and being role models for them is so special. And I have had the opportunity to get to know this beautiful family. They live in California, and they've started this amazing foundation. And I feel like, they're going to be part of our family for years to come. And so I'd like to thank Haley so much for talking about your career and getting vulnerable and talking about those times that changed your career. But I would like to take the opportunity to go from one beautiful mother to another, and introduce Josette Rofer, who, like I said, is an Orange County resident here. I've gotten to know her. She's neighbors with my family, and she's got a beautiful son, and she's got an even more beautiful story. And so thank you, Josette, for joining us. She's joining us from her travels right now. And so I really, really appreciate your time. And I wish I could give you a hug, and I wish you were here with us today in California. So thank you for sharing your story about giving back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. What a beautiful panel. Oh my gosh. Thank you for the lovely breath work, Brittany. That really helped, just made me feel present. Made me feel whole, calmed my nerves. Haley, beautiful story. Thank you so much. So I was asked to do this panel because of my story and the foundation that I created, but a little bit more about who I am and how my foundation started. So I have two beautiful boys, Bradley and Connor, and Connor's over here right now. I don't know if you missed it, but he just gave me a hug about 2 minutes ago. And he is 8 years old, and he has a brother that's 14 months older than him, Bradley. And Bradley is an exceptional child. At 6 years old, he started a flower business. It was called Bradley's Beautiful Bouquets. And he initially started it. So what had happened is I was putting him to bed, and I was on my phone, and we were reading about a GoFundMe page about a little boy named Connor, not my son Connor, but another little boy that was 2 years old. And the little boy was diagnosed with leukemia. And I said, Bradley, it's so sad that the little boy has leukemia. And he says, Mommy, I want to raise money for him. And I said, baby, that's so sweet. He goes, yeah, we can sell flowers for him. And I said, buddy, that's a great idea. And so we went around the neighborhood, and we put on a little Facebook page, and we made flowers, and we ended up raising $800 for him. And I was putting Bradley to bed, and I said, buddy, we raised $800. And he goes, Mommy, I want to raise 1,000. I said, all right, we'll keep going. And we kept going. And we ended up raising $1,800 for that little boy. When we were delivering flowers for that little boy, raising money for him, we met a mom who had a baby named Bam. And baby Bam had a brain tumor. And we left that house. He goes, Mommy, I want to raise money for baby Bam next. And I said, okay, we'll keep going. And so we ended up raising $1,300 by selling flowers for baby Bam. I'm incredibly proud of my little boy. And I think as parents, when those opportunities present themselves, and it was a challenge. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of energy. But really what was going on is I was teaching my child empathy. I was allowing him to use his gifts. I was teaching him how to do for others what they could not do for themselves at that moment. And just showing how we can go out and create something and encourage other children. And it ended up being a beautiful gift. it allowed him a lot of recognition also for his talents that he was bringing to the community and getting community involvement. And on September 1st, my little boy, Bradley, he was 8 years old. And he said, Mom, I want to ride my bike to school for the first time ever. We only live 1.1 mile from the school. There's only one street that he has to pass, and there's 2 crossing guards. He rode his bike to school. He was so excited. He got to that intersection, and for some reason, both crossing guards weren't there that day. One was a no-show, and one was late to his job. And my little boy crossed that street riding his bike and was hit by a car. On September 5th, he passed away. He donated his organs, and forever, our lives have changed. In that moment, I had to make a decision. I could wallow in my grief, or I could take my little boy's spirit and continue what he started. So during my eulogy for him, I said that I wanted to create something that would carry his name. And now through the process, things have changed. Originally, I just wanted to have a baseball scholarship in his name. But when I put that out there into the universe gave me something back. And they said, no, you're going to help sick kids in the community. The universe gave me a board. The universe gave me board members. And there's about 15 people on my board. And they said, you're just going to continue what Bradley was doing. And Bradley was selling flowers, helping sick kids in the community. So my little boy passed away on September 5th. So everything is very new to me. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of gifts. There's a lot of sadness still with my grieving. But there's also a lot of beauty in this process. Since his passing, we held a fundraiser, and it was very successful, which gave us a big financial cushion to allow us to go into the community and start giving back. We've already donated $1,000 to 15 families that were staying at the Ronald McDonald House that had sick children. We've already sponsored a child in January for $1,000. We have 2 children in February that we're donating to. And we've increased the price from $1,000 to $1,919 because my son's favorite number was 19. And we have 2 candidates for next month as well, and 2 for March. I think the biggest thing that I've learned through one of the biggest things that I'm learning is to allowing what I want to happen, putting it out there in the universe and allowing the universe to work its magic in guiding me. It's so important to have a vision map. Absolutely. Because sometimes the universe gives us something that doesn't feel right for us. But a lot of the times the universe will put people into our lives that will help our vision. and it'll help our vision not only manifest, but grow. So my vision started out very, very minuscule. And then I put it out there in the universe, and now it's growing to something very, very big. And so I'm in this place of where we have finances that's allowing my vision to grow. But the bigger part of my vision is community service. So I want to have the community, have the children of our community be a big part of the Bradley Rofer Foundation. So I've already started having Lion's Heart, which is an organization of older kids in the community to be a part of my foundation. And I've worked with like the younger children as well. 6 and 7-year-olds from the Daisy Troops, which are going out there and doing flower sales. Now their flower sales are coming back into the Bradley Rofer Foundation. And then we go and find a sick kid that's in the community and give that money towards that family to help them with medical bills or just to show them love and kindness and compassion. Everything is so scary. As Hillary was saying, I'm definitely going out of my comfort zone. But going out of my comfort zone allows me to grow. And everything is so very new to me. But already the gifts that have been given and the beautiful community and network of people are allowing me to just carry my vision and keeping my son Bradley Rofer's name alive. And in doing so, to keeping his name alive, I'm helping other children that are sick or injured. And then the best part is showing other children in the community that they could be a part of healing and showing compassion, empathy, and entrepreneurship. So it's a beautiful way to honor my son and bring everybody together in the community. So thank you so very much for having me here and being a part of this beautiful panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Josette, so much. I look forward to more events with the foundation and my children being involved in it. And of course, our Work Hard, Smile Large community and the youth that are involved with us, helping out and being involved in the community events that you're doing too. So I look forward to making magic happen in Bradley's name for years to come with you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Wow. So we've had some pretty amazing women, thinking differently and really getting uncomfortable in some topics that are pretty easy to sit and write goals about and write your vision about, but thinking about how they thought bigger or got really uncomfortable and made big decisions that they're still working through is super powerful. Like I said, it's going to be pretty impactful today, hearing people, what they did then and what they're doing now and how it matters to them. And our next topic is, I think, near and dear to most every single person in this room and most everybody that's joined us today. And if not, that's okay. Somebody that is a parent, but family relates to all of us, our parents, our kids, our grandparents. But again, our next topic is family. And I have my amazing friend, Elizabeth, who, had I not gotten uncomfortable and supported my husband in our relocation with our family, I would not have got to know Elizabeth. And it was amazing because when I landed in Texas, we had people helping us at the house and they're like, oh yeah, I was in finance before. I had this friend that's a lender. Nicole, you need to meet them. But they really know this girl named Elizabeth Riley. Every single person I met was like, you're just like Elizabeth Riley. You guys talk a lot. You talk with your hands. You love your family. You're always on the go. And I was like, okay, eventually I'll meet this girl, Elizabeth Riley. And so we had coffee and we call it our speed date. And now she's here. She took the journey to California today from Austin. And I super appreciate that. You escaped the ice storm. But Elizabeth is going to come up and talk to us about family. She's taught me so much in my career now in Texas and introduced me to my EXP family, which is amazing. but she's going to come up and talk about family and what that means to her and what she's done in her life and in her family's life to get her here today and what you're going to continue to do. So
thank you, my friend.
thank
Although
you.
I don't know if you know this, but our families might not be happy with us. They canceled school again tomorrow.
Oh, no.
We just got that note. So I think my husband's going to be ready to. I'm Elizabeth. I'm so blessed to be here. This is so awesome. Nice weather. Much better from where we were. But these stories are just amazing. And I know they're so touching. Is everybody in here a parent? Is everybody a parent? Yeah. So family's huge. We all have our why. I do vision mapping and vision boards with my kids. I have 4. I have a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 9-year-old. And we've done vision boards every year since they were little bitty. And what's interesting is to see what they put on there and what's important. But what's even more empowering to me is to see what I've put on and what's important and how decisions I've made back when have impacted or changed my decisions and what's happening now. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my family and what we've been able to do. This is very touching, especially Josette, because, I lost my niece a couple years ago to cancer. And so what she's doing is amazing. And my sister I grew up with, she had cancer. And so that is very familiar scenario. But for me, I have been in the real estate world for 18 years. And that was never something that was in my vision. I never wanted to be a real estate agent. My husband and I were investors because long-term we wanted an exit strategy, and he was in corporate and I was in corporate, and that's just what you did, right? And so I got into real estate because I had to. We didn't have children at that time. Although I got my license and a week later I found out I was pregnant with my first. And so he pretty much grew up in the business with me in Atlanta. And I all of a sudden realized, oh my gosh, I love this. Like I kept saying no to something, but then I realized I had a passion. And so I built my business in Atlanta, Georgia, and then 2008, I was transferred to Austin. So, and when you're in real estate, the market had crashed back then. And so you know that wasn't a really good time. But again, saying yes to things that other people are saying no to or make you uncomfortable, I'm one that just takes the leap of faith. And so when everybody in Austin, Texas told me I was crazy for getting in real estate in 2008, because the market was horrible. Like I just came from Atlanta. That was a horrible market. It was opportunity for me, right? So I think perception and perspective is big for everything that I do. And I took a leap and I got into business, and I had to do the same thing that Nicole has had to do and Haley's had to do, where I had children and I had a family and I had to meet people. And it just worked really, really well with my career. I had always planned on being a stay-at-home mom. That was our goal. That was my husband and I had decided I'd be a stay-at-home mom. And I realized after about 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, I am not a good stay-at-home mom. And I'm very driven and I want to do a lot. And if I do what I'm meant to do, then how can I empower and impact other people? And so my journey has been pretty amazing. I'm now into a position where it's no longer about income for me, it's about impact because of decisions I've made before. So I want to tell you a little bit about that impact. Vision boards for me, I would have the house, I'd have the trips, I'd have all these different things. But what happens when your vision changes? Josette didn't understand that this was going to happen with her family, right? Her vision absolutely changed. Mine did as well. And so I went to a company that I took a leap of faith, that everybody thought I was crazy, not knowing what it would happen for me now. And the beautiful thing about that is during that journey, my vision changed. My 7-year-old at the time, he withdrew. He stopped going out of the house. He stopped wanting to go to school. He stopped eating. He was 7 years old. He had gastritis. I was losing my child. And when we talk about family, my family is my why. It's my everything. It's why I do what I do. And what we realized was he was severely dyslexic. And we had no idea the challenges he was having in school because he was a comedian. He masked it. And we're very good at masking things, right? I mean, think about that. But as a 7-year-old, he had learned how to mask the challenges he was having. And it was tearing our family apart. Just what do we do? What are the resources? Well, because of the decisions I made with the company I aligned myself with, I had finances coming in ways I never understood. And we found a school that was in Austin, Texas, that focused just on dyslexic children. And this was our solution. I'll do anything for my child. My vision had changed. That trip is now no longer important. Getting my family back and my child healthy and content and thriving was my priority. But because of this school, it was $34,000 a year for a second grader, right? And you do what you have to do. But because the decisions I made prior for my family, not knowing what that would look like, it allowed us to enroll my son in that school. And he was there for 3 years. He's now in another private school and he's doing very, very well. But $34,000 is a lot of money. We were talking about your son at TCU in college. And I was like, yes, I know.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. And then I'm like, wow, that changed my child. That changed our family. What can I do? My job, my career, that's all important. But why are we doing all of that? We're not doing it just because we want to have a 9-to-5 or a day job. We're doing it to make an impact somewhere else in our life. And for me, it's family. For most of you, it's probably family. So growing up, I am the oldest of 6. My family had a lot of love to give, I'd like to say. We had 140 foster children in 20 years. So if you can imagine the chaos, and I like to say I thrive in chaos, that's probably why I never stop still, because I'd be bored otherwise. But we just didn't have a lot growing up. I didn't realize that. My parents made sure we didn't know that, but we grew up with layaway Kmart. Thank God Kmart's no longer. I hate Kmart. If you tell me if we're going to go have lunch, if there's peanut butter and jelly or spaghetti or pancakes on the menu, I will not eat. Like that's all we lived on. But my parents, my mom and my stepfather, they were really good at making sure that we never did without. And one of my sisters had leukemia growing up. And so our medical bills were outrageous. And then fast forward, my parents had always struggled. So they're in their 70s. And I see them having to grind and having to be on that hamster wheel and not really having those choices to do what they want to be doing. And so really, when you get to a point where it's not about the income anymore, it's about the impact. And I do a lot of things for the community and all those other things, but we're talking about family. So talk about what you can do to pay it forward in your family. So last year, I had my dad and my mom get on a Zoom call. And I said, and they wanted me to donate $1,000 to a foundation they were working. I was like, I want to hear all about it. And I said, okay, pull up your Wells Fargo mortgage account. And kind of looked, and they pulled it up and there was a zero balance. Because how can I appreciate and thank my family and my parents for struggling for so many years to get us to where we are? And that's how I was able to do it. So I paid off their mortgage. That's impact. Now they don't have to grind. Now they can go do what they want to do. Once you're out of the pain, what's your purpose? So then the other thing when you talk about, and I'm telling you some examples, these are big examples, but these are things that have changed the trajectory of my life and my children and my community. My husband has been in corporate America for 25 years. Why? Because that's what you do, right? We had the benefits. That's what he had to do. He was gone all the time. He was global sales director for Dell Computer, and he was international all the time. And so I would always joke and say I'm a single mom with benefits, but he was never there. What was happening as we were growing up, we were all pulling apart. He did not know my children. My children did not have a relationship with him. Family's everything. So why are we grinding over here when it's not supporting and building up our family units? So I looked at him one day, and this was after COVID or during COVID. When you're international, but it's COVID, you're not going international, but you're still doing your job at 3 a.m, 4 a.m. And I walked into his office, and now I'm fulfilling what I'm doing because I've pivoted a little bit into what I want to do. Like Haley talked about with career, it's not always what you think it is, it's what it could turn into, and don't say no to the opportunities. I walked into his office one day and I looked at him, I said, why are you doing this? Your light is gone. And he looked at me and goes, what do you mean? I said, let's do something else. What are you passionate about? He said, I can't do anything. This is my job. I have to do this. Why do you have to do this? I have the benefits. My company has benefits. Don't give a listing agent an objection. I'm going to overcome it, right? You know that. I said, what if we just sat and we looked at the healthcare benefits that we have and the healthcare benefits we have, and let's see what opportunities there are. So we did that. We met with the person and we found out that what we were paying over here was a whole lot more and a lot less effective than what we could do over here. And I said, what if I retired you? And he looked at me, he thought I was crazy. And I said, and to retire you means you find your passion, but you find your relationship with our children. He was driving me to the airport yesterday and he said, I'm so grateful for this time. So I retired him it'll be 2 years in May. And it's not so he can go, run around or sit on the couch and eat bonbons or whatever he wants to do. I don't really care. He helps with the family. He helps me fulfill my passion. But more than anything, it's that family unit. They are tight. We've got our family back. So we're talking about this vision mapping. And what I love about this is there's so many different aspects. But I think all it comes back to family. Almost like that's really the center focus. So as you're doing your vision mapping and you're thinking bigger, just understand your vision could always change. And what could your decisions look like that could ultimately affect those visions and give you bigger opportunities in the future. So thank you for sharing, for letting me share today. And thank you for letting me today.
All right. So super meaningful stories, very pivotal moments in everyone's lives. And I'm sure we've all had pivotal moments in our lives. And if you hadn't, get ready, buckle up. I mean, it's inevitable. But let's embrace those changes and those speed bumps in our map. And let's check in on our vision maps often. And let's check in on each other often and learn and collaborate with each other on what we're doing for ourselves. I thought we would get some fun roundtable time in, and I really thought we'd be able to talk about some of these other buckets. But our beautiful speakers' stories were just engaging, and we are kind of going to be a little bit more short on time. So as you think about travel, as you think about finances, as you think about these other topics that you're going to map for yourself, think about what it is about travel that you like. Like I like to get really intricate, like the wind blowing in your hair, the sand in your feet, you know, the temperature, the climate that you're in, who you're around, what you have or haven't done. Like my kids love pancakes. I want to go to Vermont and see the leaves and like see the syrup. Like there's something I want to do with my kids because I'm tired of wiping syrup off my counter. So I try to have a lot of fun with everything and not just think like, I don't want to say selfishly, like, oh, I want to go on this lavish vacation. Some of it are like teachable moments for me. My travel now has meaning. My journey in life has meaning because I've traveled where my homes have traveled so much. I've moved almost every 2 years. So just be creative, have fun, touch back in on it, get uncomfortable. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everyone that's participating virtually with us. Thank you for everybody that's here with me in person. Thank you to my family who's supported me and my vision mapping for the last 6 years and that's now participating in it with me. They didn't quite understand it in the beginning, and now we're going to be doing it together every year. And thank you to these speakers for being my friends. Thank you, Britley. She's always touching in. Thank you, Josette, for sharing your time with your family right now where you're at with us. I super appreciate it. And I look forward to collaborating with the Bradley Rofer Foundation this year with Work Hard, Smile Large and doing some fun youth events together. Thank you, Haley, for inviting us into your home to chit chat with you and learn that you didn't know how to cook. Because now I just see you cooking meals and recipes all the time on your stories with your kids and for your kids and for your family. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you, Elizabeth, for making it all the way to California with me. You get to sit and chit chat with some of my peers and my friends and some of my past clients that are here. One of my past clients in particular is the person that introduced me to vision mapping many years ago. And she's participated with my team, my real estate team, and I almost every year since then. So thank you for coming and participating with me again. I can't wait to catch up with you after. But I have this special thing that Sandra taught me, and I call it the magic in vision mapping. And so I didn't send you any messages about it. I didn't tell anybody to prepare for it or anything. So we're going to have a little homework after this, but it's super amazing. We write a letter to ourselves. So I want you to take your breath work, and I call it the magic moment. And I want you to take the next 30 minutes or by the end of today and do this because you're all going to be fresh and writing your maps out and stuff. But we close our eyes, we take a couple deep breaths, we imagine what we put on our vision map, and we imagine it's January 2024. And we address the letter to ourselves, and we write the letter to ourselves, and you're going to get an address. So you'll close up your stationery. Everybody has something, or write it on a piece of paper and put it in an envelope and address it to yourself. So self-address it, put Work Hard, Smile Large on the back, and you're going to get some follow-up communication from us within a mailing address that you can send it to. And if everybody sends me their self-addressed envelopes, I will save them. But here's the deal. Write a letter to yourself. Close your eyes and imagine yourself taking that trip to Vermont and seeing the trees with your kids and eating pancakes and, wiping syrup off the counter in between while you're working on your career goals, your financial goals, or anything like that. Get real with it, because what I wrote last year is why I'm here right now. Work hard, smile large. Didn't have a logo. It didn't have a huge community. It was a hashtag on all my posts. It was a saying with my family. And it's here today because of the letter I read this year, in this month, that I mailed to myself because I didn't open it up and cheat. And it talked about work hard, smile large, being bigger, and being in other people's lives, and other people saying it, and it having roots, and it's going to grow. And now that our roots are, in the ground with work hard, smile large, I hope to have branches and beautiful flowers. And I need you guys to help me with that. And I want your children to help me with that. And everybody goes, like, what are you doing with work hard, smile large? I'm like, what do you mean? It's here. It's now. It's happening. But I'm building a community. And where that community goes is infinite. I don't know. My husband wants to teach entrepreneurship. I want to keep helping youth learn how to pour into one another and help each other. They don't have the support in their administration anymore. And they're not taught to necessarily love on each other all the time in their educational environments and in their teams and stuff. They're always competing. I want to change that. My daughter had a struggle. She challenged herself to stay true to who she was. And so we put Work Hard, Smile Large out into the world because she wanted to be friends with everybody. She didn't want to be in a clique. And I don't want to be in a clique either, but I want Work Hard, Smile Large to continue to help other people grow within their community and get to know other people and continue to inspire the youth to help one another. And I just thank everyone that came today for helping me make this magic happen. I didn't think we would have over 300 participants because I set a goal of 100. And when we hit 100, I went back to my vision for this vision mapping event. And I was like, okay, 250 is our goal. And then this morning, my team is telling me like, oh my gosh, we're almost at 300 participants or RSVPs. And I just said, oh my gosh. And I told my kids, they didn't even guess the number. What I'm getting at with this, and I don't want to keep going on, is think big, check in with yourself again, set another bar for yourself, but do it with intention. Get uncomfortable, get purposeful, and just have so much fun this year. Like I said, we'll have some follow-up communication. Please be so sincere with yourself and believe in yourself this year. You can do it. You can do anything you put your mind to, and send your letters to me. I will save them and send them to you. I was just going to say something else. In conclusion, the letter is the icing on the cake. If you're going to take time to write a vision for yourself, write a letter to yourself and believe in yourself. And that is the magic that makes this all happen. So thank you for joining me. I want everyone to stay tuned with future Work Hard, Smile Large events. We're super active on social media. We're just getting active on Facebook now. So we do have a public Facebook page. And we're on LinkedIn as well. But we do have a youth vision mapping event this Sunday. So it's the first time I've ever taken it. And we're going to go and we're going to do a youth vision mapping event this Sunday, the 5th at 1 p.m. Central Time. So 11 a.m. here in the Pacific time zone. And we have a couple guest speakers who will be guiding us on things that they are doing with their vision in life in a couple different buckets. So more to come on that. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. And stay tuned for more Work Hard, Smile Large events, and stay tuned for some follow-up on vision mapping throughout this year to kind of keep us all in tune with each other. But from my heart, work hard, smile large. Thank you so much.